Crumpton Crew. Stick around to the end for a song surprise. Welcome, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, JDs and Lettlemen, and ladies and gentlemen, and all the people from around the world of all races and places. My name is Placid, Joe Mama Cosine, the one and only, the only, except for that one guy who stole my name and makes Fortnite videos. I am joined by Henry Trilanganek, who is a Minecraft YouTuber, the famous one.
Yeah.
Say something.
But I don't have much to say to that, to be honest. Not. I wouldn't call myself famous, but.
Wow, that's profound. And then I'm joined on my, let me check, left by Matt. Yep.
That's me. That's me.
Absolutely nothing to say about him.
Pretty unremarkable.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the world is made out of unremarkable people, Matt. So you're there.
I don't know about that.
You're their ambassador, Matt. And today we have a very special podcast because we're going to be talking about all the things within an hour and 10 minutes approximately.
Approximately. Well, this is my I'll give you the choice. I mean, it's not really my. I mean, it is my call. Actually, I edit it, so it is my call. I'll give you the choice. Should we start with the news now, or shall we do the news later?
I'm taking my pants off.
Okay, that doesn't relate to my question, actually.
No, I'm just really hot. What was your question again?
Do we do the news now, or do the news later?
Let's just go crazy with it.
Oh.
Let's just do it now.
How about then? Let's just do it now.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No.
That's what
So here's my idea. We'll do it now.
Welcome to the news segment.
I'm quite excited today because Matt's actually brought a news story for the first time ever, I think.
What?
Yeah.
I'm really quite impressed with
news.
You're
See, I thought the news segment was gonna come later. So my plan isn't gonna work. My plan is not gonna work.
So you haven't.
I've gone with a different. No, I was gonna just like pull up a newspaper from like 1847 and act like it was something new. But that's not gonna work. So instead, I brought a news story about that goat that got stuck on a Kansas City bridge.
Okay, sorry, what? Is this?
That's what happened.
So this actually happened?
Yeah, no, it was a goat. And people were going to like watch the eclipse, and they just saw the goat standing there, like chilling on the side of the bridge.
He just did not care about the goat.
No, they the firefighters came out and they needed like the rope. They had to try and tie a rope around the goat because the goat's below them. So the firefighters are standing
Wait, hold
top,
on. So the
goat's like 10 feet below them on this bridge, like stanchion.
Wait, so the goat is on like that, like lower like the support section.
Yeah, it's on a support that's sticking out. The goat's just chilling. I don't know how it got there. I don't know where the fuck it came from. It was just chilling there. So they get this rope around it, slack the line, and then the goat like falls 15 feet. But they got it. They got the goat.
So the goat's all right.
The goat is all right. After its 15-foot fall.
And where is the Kansas City bridge?
It's in Kansas City. Are you fucking stupid?
What?
It's in the name.
Yeah, but
Could have fooled me.
yeah, no,
It's in Baltimore.
Is it? I don't trust.
Topical joke.
I don't trust bridges from Baltimore anymore. I don't trust them, and I don't trust boats near Baltimore either.
After what you did, I don't think you can really talk.
It wasn't
Yeah,
me.
you're personally responsible, aren't you?
It wasn't me. We've been over who's personally responsible.
try
I'll
to-
go get him. I'll go get him right now.
No, he's not. He's not our guest for today. So
I'll go knock on the door
No,
and I'll say, "Hey, you."
he's not our guest for today, Matt. I don't want to hear from
Actually, I
him.
can call him. I can call him on the phone.
Would
It's my
rather.
RA.
I'd rather not.
My RA.
Not doing that. Because of you, we are no longer allowed near the Francis Scott Key Bridge. How do you feel about that?
It's not my fault.
Oh, Matt, when will you learn?
Oh god.
I mean, you brought it up briefly there, but I wanted to go in depth on it a little bit more because it's so topical. Literally yesterday was the first eclipse in like I want to say 9 years, but I don't think it was 9 years.
No,
2017.
no, there was an
2017.
eclipse like, yeah,
2017.
Well, you know,
it was not that long ago. I remember.
Well,
that.
that's
The next one won't happen till like 2054 now.
really.
I don't understand. No, it's happening. Like, what's the point of these fucking? Why is everybody like, oh, an eclipse? Yahoo!
Because the next one's in
Doesn't make any
2050.
fucking
That's what Placid
The
just
next one's
said.
in like 2049.
Shortly after
We're gonna be alive, and that's the next total eclipse.
Yeah, but 2049. You say that like that's like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 25 years.
All right, look,
Literally.
the sun
Yeah,
went
look,
dark for a couple of seconds. The moon moved in front of the sun. That's it.
it's
I
cool.
don't get it.
It's an interesting.
It's not that.
This
interesting.
created religions back
You
in the
all
day.
sound like a bunch of Roman villages right now. Whoa, the sun is disappearing.
Well, you know, I'm just.
You all look fucking stupid
It's
out there with your
cool.
little glasses.
It's exciting. Well, this is what
Your little fucking glasses.
this is what I wanted to talk about because the average American. You keep in mind the eclipse like totality path was only across like America and a bit of Japan or whatever.
Yep.
So it was mainly the silly Yanks who had to
Cool people.
you know, who got to observe it. But many of them, being uneducated and like relying on Facebook for their information, like decided to stare directly at the sun with zero protection. It is true because have you seen around the time of the eclipse there was a peak in Google
my
terms.
eyes hurt right
yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly.
And it was in the path. It was in the path of the.
Yeah.
It's it was so. That's so funny, dude.
But
You can't really humor that you can't make up with that.
no, but genuinely though, like the amount of people who fell for it, because online, I was seeing like in the entire week leading up to it, like you know people were posting, you know, just like stare at it with your eyes, just look at it straight up with your eyes, it's fine. And people fell for that.
It's just like so telling of America, and it's like. It's like not even like a joke. It's not even like a meme. People were just genuinely searching this up, and it peaked. Like, imagine being the first guy to discover this. Just being like, "Huh, a lot of people searching up. My eyes hurt," and conveniently, it's in the path of the solar eclipse. This might be connected a little bit, and then it peaks in the hours of the solar eclipse. That's just so
Crazy.
it's so hilarious. That's what is the reasons why America is the most. It may not be the best.
It is the best.
The most.
What other country can you have that? No other country.
It's true.
Alright, this is the success of the American public education system right here.
Any other country, they'll realize like maybe looking directly at the sun during like a major solar event is
They
not
weren't
good
looking
for
at
my
the sun,
eyes.
they were looking at the moon in front of the sun. Right?
No,
It was dark.
I'll have you know that they were very much looking at the sun, and that's why their retinas have been fried out of their skulls. That is like, I don't think the moon was causing these issues, really.
It was the moon. We all know it's the aliens on the moon. They were using their little laser beams, taking out people's eyes.
Well,
It's just a fact.
actually, that reminds me, because I guess it's also kind of topical. Recently, I don't know if it was the U.S. government or it was the Air Force or it was the CIA, but one of them officially announced that like all of the alien sightings were just tests. Like they after all these years, they came out and said like, oh, by the way, they were probably just tests. Like, sorry to get your hopes up about all the aliens. No, after like who was that? Who was the guy who they like tricked into thinking they were aliens? And he like lived next to an Air Force base, and they would like send him fake alien signals to like because they were testing stealth jets or whatever. Who was the guy? You'd know this.
No clue.
You don't know that? Oh, hold on. Okay, Placid, bring up your news story. I'm gonna reread on this guy quickly because I can't remember his name. What was your news story for the day, Placid?
Okay, well, I don't really have a new story, more like a new topic. It's I've been getting into Florida Man. I know it's an old topic, but Florida Man, I've just seen so many like funny ones recently, and I don't know why. But okay, this is my favorite one. Florida Man conducts. This is from 2 days ago, by the way, by Fox 13 in Tampa Bay. Florida man conducts ritual with sword while holding woman captive. And you
Oh
know,
yeah.
I don't know anything about saying this guy's name online, but they posted him to Fox News. So it's John Peter Stevens. And if you look at this guy has the most stone-faced expression that you've ever seen in your life. Just absolutely no soul behind those eyes. You know those people who like don't really have an inner monologue. There's like people like that.
Yeah,
It's
but
just that kind
I
of
feel
person.
like that's all people from
You
Florida.
mean
to be
normal
fair.
people?
No, Matt. Okay, you're alone on this one, buddy. Everyone has an inner
Yeah.
monologue.
No,
No.
I feel like people don't really have an inner monologue. Some people don't, and it's weird because I've always had it. So like when I
I
hear
think most people have it. I think you're deranged.
I think this
you
really
said
shows your
it's most
personality.
there's like
If
a
you're
s-
walking around like narrating your life,
It's not narrating. It's just
a bit
like
odd.
oh Matt, it's like
I mean, if you're sitting there like having a monologue to yourself, I'm just saying.
well, kind
no,
of, but
no, you're not monologuing to. Okay, it's like, do you wake up in the morning and you're like, you don't say this out loud, but in your mind you think about things that happened the other day. You think about things that like you're gonna do, and you
no.
almost have like a
I'm in a
No, I wake up in the morning and I think, oh fuck, I'm late to formation.
yeah.
That's-
That's kind of an inner monologue.
It's not an inner monologue, it's an inner panic.
The thing is, how do we define an inner monologue?
Well,
Because I talk, like,
you kinda
is it just talking to yourself?
Yeah, I think it's just talking to yourself in your head.
I do that all the time.
I've got no time for that.
That's such a lie. Look,
I've got no time for
Matt,
that.
just because you're wrong doesn't mean you have to double
I'm so
down.
busy
all right?
hitting the Baltimore Bridge that I have.
I knew it was
no
you.
time.
I knew it was
How are you?
you.
Here, folks. How are you busy? It's only been hit once. You just hitting every single bridge in Baltimore until the whole city goes up.
Every time they rebuild it, he's gonna ram it again. Take that cargo ship straight into that support strut.
All right, this is off topic, but I need to know. Is this true?
Yes.
Okay, not even is this true. This is just a deep opinion of mine. What the fuck are cupcakes? Just honestly.
You don't know what a cupcake
Honestly.
is.
No, I know what it is. I'm just saying, like, why? Why does that exist? I have never in my life looked at a cupcake and been like, oh yeah, can't wait to eat that.
Because, oh my god, are you?
I actually like dislike your opinion like very
Yeah,
strongly.
are you like?
I just
Okay,
I think cupcakes
okay,
are
Matt.
white
Okay,
shit,
Matt.
honestly.
So imagine a
I don't even
cake.
think-
Mhm.
Imagine you have an entire
Imagine a
huge cake, right? That you're.
Yep, that I can slice into individual slices
Okay.
and then eat. the
Okay,
cake.
okay.
Why do I need a fucking cupcake?
So say you're
What's the point?
say you're actually employed in a real job and don't
Uh-huh.
live in Fantasyland in your like US base or whatever, right?
Yep.
And you've got to walk to your job, and say you only get an hour's lunch break, and you're like, oh, I could really go for some cake right now. So you go to your bakery, and they say, yeah, you can buy a cake, but it's like, 20 quid,
Okay,
3
then why don't they
tiers,
sell individual slices of cake?
because they just sell a cupcake instead. So it's not crumbly.
No.
You don't feel like you've been scammed. You feel like you're getting a whole
See,
package for as much as it would cost for a slice.
As an American, I don't go to a fucking bakery.
What?
All right, I bake it myself.
You're joking.
make my own
Okay,
fucking food.
you need to.
You say that like it's an American thing. This is not.
That's the
Okay, this is
opposite
a
of an
me
American thing.
This is a me thing. I don't fucking go to the shop and say, oh, I need a fucking cupcake. I make it and I find it pointless. I will
think
just make a cake.
I think you're being a little ridiculous.
I think cupcakes are a little fucking ridiculous.
I'm actually in shock and awe at how
I'm livid
deranged
that
you are.
cupcakes is
Like,
because I was in the shower last night. I was in the shower.
Having an
and I
inner
was
monologue,
thinking,
having an
"Man,
inner
I
monologue
really
in that shower.
hate cupcakes,
Doesn't have
and I'm
an inner
gonna bring it
monologue.
up on the podcast.
You're mental. But what do you think of brownies then?
Brownies are fine. Brownies aren't.
So
fucking
what's the
cake.
difference? What's
Brownies
the
have a
difference?
different consistency to cake. Brownies are different
So
than cake.
what?
Cupcakes are just round little balls of shit with some fucking frosting.
Well, what about cake pop then?
Okay,
No,
that's
you don't have
also
to.
got a different consistency.
No, cake pop's cake.
If you make one yourself, sure.
Matt, you do not make your own cake pops.
You can, and then it's
I mean,
a
you
fucking
can, but you
piece of cake.
don't.
I've done it before. I have
You've
a
never-
little thingy for it.
You've never ever made a cake
It's
pop.
at my house. It's not in my dorm room. I don't have my cupcake. Cake
the old my girlfriend
maker.
goes to another school excuse. Yeah, sure,
No,
man.
you know what? I will. I think my sister has it. I think my phone just died, so I can't even text my sister.
The old my dad ate my homework excuse.
He did. It's his fault.
So
This is actually
My phone just broke. I love Apple.
I actually have a good story about that. So like my in French, I have like a bunch. I used to go to this like little school. I was in a small grade in this school.
what a small grade. What does that mean?
A
Like,
little
no,
one, you know,
a grade of
below
like,
10.
a class of like 40 people probably. That was
Right.
that was-
Okay.
and,
I understand.
that was a whole year, and everyone in my year or grade is basically like pretty close to each other. And then we had French class, right? And in French class, our friend Chris, because we're all basically like communists at this point, he like everyone in French has their like homework and something. We all give it to something, and Mrs. Mrs. Pagan, that's not her real name.
Mm.
She was checking it, and he comes up to Chris, and Chris is like this dopey. Matt, are you watching TikTok in the background?
No, that would be my roommate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't get. Yeah. Come on. Keep on track. I'm getting immersed
Yeah.
in Miss Pagan's tale and this
Alright,
dopey
so-
freak.
Pagan comes up to Chris, and she's like, "Chris, do you have your homework?" And Chris, looks up at her in despair, and he's like, "Oh, damn it, my dad ate my homework." And the whole class erupted with laughter because I think he meant to say my dog, but he said my dad, and I don't think that's correct.
Sorry, that's a really interesting story. But Matt,
Ignore the background. I can't.
what
Yeah,
is
I
it?
can't
No, but
really focus on what was happening.
I don't know. I don't
Get him
know.
on-
All
can you
right.
get him on the podcast?
he's watching like it was a very high pitched anime.
You could hear everything in his mind.
Like I could probably like.
That's why I don't like the new mic.
Oh no, I think it's wonderful. I just think you need your roommate to turn the bloody TV down.
You think we have a TV?
You know-
You think we're allowed to have a TV?
What? So this Joker just strutted into the room, strutting his stuff, got his phone out, and he's playing anime at max
You can have a
volume.
PC,
Yep.
You could stream,
Yep.
but you can't have a TV.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
mental.
no. I shouldn't be able to stream. If somebody other than like my staff comes into this room and sees the amount of like lights and electronics that are on my desk, I'm fucked. Like, I will actually be in trouble.
Matt,
Well, you're not in the real military, so I don't think it'll matter.
yeah, you're only in the merchant marine.
I'm not allowed to have like more than one electronic on my desk. So I have a microphone, keyboard, light, monitor, and camera.
Yeah, but those are all peripherals, really. They don't really count.
Yeah, but you think they're gonna know what a peripheral is if I say, "Oh no, that's a peripheral"?
Well,
It doesn't count.
you're gonna get court-martialed by the U.S.
I will.
merchant
I
admiral.
will. They're gonna say, "Oh, big Mike's gonna come down here and
Well,
throw a fit."
what's the problem? Why are they so, angry about electronics? What's the
We
big?
have a whole rule book.
But why?
We have a whole rule book
But
that we
why?
have to
What's
carry around with us 24/7.
what's the problem?
The Mug Bible, gentlemen. The Mug Bible.
The what Bible?
The Mug Bible.
What?
That's what we have.
I don't know.
Yeah, give me a random page up to I don't know, 115.
115.
Yep, it's 115 pages.
No,
Alright,
I'm
go to
not.
page 77. 7's my favorite number.
77. All right, let's find page 77. What does page 77 contain?
He has the book on site too. That is really
Yeah, no,
sad.
we have to carry it in our back pocket at all times.
Jesus.
77 is types of vessels.
Oh, that's easy.
Flash, bulk carrier, tankers, ro-ro, and it goes over everything in that specific
It doesn't
page.
really sound like a rule book. It sounds like more.
Oh no, the rules are earlier on.
Oh, well, of course. How could we be so foolish? Bloody hell.
Stowage.
I-
Dresser stowage. Items in the top dresser drawer. Small personal items. Belts and ties, shoulder boards,
Wait, oh.
uniform insignia, scarf.
So they forcefully segregate your drawers.
Yes.
Your compartments.
Yes. Yes.
and use
And how we properly fold and store the clothes.
That's so racist.
a little
That's
bit.
what I thought.
I thought they
That's what I
banned
thought.
segregation. Like,
Oh, there's a specific way we have to
Only
make our
17.
beds. Specific way our shoes should be in the closet. Specific way our room should like be organized.
oh, that makes sense because the closet and
That's where all those seamen belong.
yep,
Oh
they're
yeah.
they're all there.
At certain times of the day, we are required to give specific greetings to certain people.
Like what? Good morning. Don't do this one in the evening, guys.
You are to stop, salute, and say good morning, good evening, or good afternoon.
That's so exactly what I just said. I predicted the bloody
But-
Merchant Marine.
No.
They're that hard
And
to
then you
read.
have to add sir or ma'am.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
There was one time.
That's normal.
No, there was one time that I was in line getting lunch, and the captain comes up.
Mm,
Yeah,
Go.
It's 11. It's 11, but I'm getting lunch. So in my mind, if I'm eating lunch, as it says in the book, that is afternoon. So I say, good afternoon, Captain. And he says, it's morning, cadet. And gets all pissy with me.
Yeah,
I will never forget that.
and you say, "Bum, you being
I,
rude."
sir. No, I say I,
Shut him,
sir.
fam.
And I move on, because I don't want to get fucking...
Man, you're in some kind of like. No wonder you're autistic.
It's my mom.
Like it's not. No, but it's like it's not real. It's not real.
It's not real.
It's all just
This
a
is the
bunch of
dumbest shit I've ever
laughers.
done.
They're all just
This is-
pretending.
Yeah, this is so bizarre. This is like
We have one regimental officer that was actually in the military. One of our lieutenants was actually in the military.
One
probably t-
out of how many?
One of
How
them.
many officers are there?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 5.
man, you're in the
Well, then you factor the ship's officers. We have like land and ship officers.
So there's like less.
All of those combined.
There's like easily there's under a 10% like actual
Yeah.
military ratio
Yeah.
there.
Jesus.
So they're all
And
just
there
posers.
were-
They're all posers.
There were at one point 2 and 1 joining the army, and then those 2 left. So we have no idea what happened to them. So now we're just left with the 1 lieutenant.
They're
And
like-
he's the most relaxed out of all of them.
It's actually crazy. It's you just know they're going into like Costco. Like, can I get my military discount? Can I get my merchant navy discount?
Crazy.
they played as a kid.
Dude, I remember when I was
You
home,
do it.
No, when I was home in December, I was with my dad. We were at Country Max picking I think I was buying soda. And my dad sees these signs for like the Navy and the Marine Corps and the Army, and he goes up to the front desk and
Oh,
is like,
God.
my son is in the Merchant Marine. Do you guys have a sign for the Merchant Marine? And I'm sitting there like, Dad,
It's not
leave these
real.
poor people alone.
Father, it's
Leave
not
these poor
real.
people alone. They ended up giving me a fucking military discount on my
You're-
sodas,
You're,
and I felt so horrendous.
yeah, imagine this. You know,
I didn't know what to do.
I'd be terrified if I'm just trying to work my fucking shift at what was it, Country Max,
Country Max, yeah.
and I'm just trying to get through. I'm bored. I want to go home. And some like gangly fucker who looks greasy and ugly. He's there with his 2 big liter bottles of Coca-Cola.
No, these are just tiny little things.
So it's only like what,
Tiny
330.
little.
So it's literally like a drinking bottle of.
Yeah.
So you've
was
literally
like a beer
got,
bottle.
so you've effectively got a Fanta, which is like what, like £3? Or like must be like $4. And your
The
dad.
total cost of the bill was supposed to be $5, $5 because I had bought these sodas before. Every time I go home, I buy these sodas.
So I'm there and I'm looking at this gangly freak with like a Pepsi Max, effectively. And this dad charges over to my counter and goes, have you got the Merchant Navy discount? My son is actually in the Merchant Navy. And I'm sat there like, I've never even heard of this organization.
Yep.
Probably just like some freaks who sail around in boats in inland lakes pretending to be
I
like
think they thought
seafarers.
I was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, but you don't look like it, do you? No offense.
No, I
You
don't.
look like a
I
Marine.
was wearing a fucking 3-piece suit with 2 sodas in my hands.
You dress like Saul Goodman.
And the fact as well that it's such like a minuscule bill. It's like $5, and your dad's like, "Can we get the discount?"
He wasn't even asking for a discount. He was just asking for a sign. And I just know that they gave me the discount because the bill is normally like $5 exact.
They just didn't want
And
trouble.
I hand her $5, and she gives me back change. They charged me like $4.55.
Oh, so you only saved 45 bloody
I
pence.
saved like 45 fucking cents, but I was like, what the fuck?
Matt, you know that guy.
I
on
stole
like-
45 cents from Country Max, and I feel guilty about
Actually,
it.
that's a terrible military discount. If I was actually in the military and they took 45 cents,
I'd be livid. I'd be livid.
Matt, you know that guy Stolen Valor on YouTube?
I stole 0 valor,
And
okay?
you know that guy Stolen Valor? He's gonna
It's
like
not
see
my
you in
fault.
your-
Well, no, Stolen Valor's
he's-
not one guy though, is it? Stolen Valor's a whole like thing.
Stolen valor's a concept.
Yeah.
It's like an
Technically
ideology.
speaking, I think being in uniform counts as stolen valor, and that's why they don't let you leave the campus in your uniform.
He's gonna
Oh,
say-
wait! Hold on, Matt. They don't They don't let you leave your own fort because they think it was stolen valor.
Unless you are wearing your dress blues.
So literally,
Your
so
dress uniform.
it's
so
literally
so your
Clothes
so your
have a different color
so-
in the pants.
so your
they aren't
own-
technically stolen valor.
your own administrators are so aware of like how much they are laughing as real like military officials that they are aware that they can't even wear their own uniforms in public because it's actually deceptive to the public.
That is hilarious.
Yeah,
That is
pretty much.
But Matt, he's gonna be
The
like
amount of times that I have been off campus, like in a dress uniform, and thanked for my service is crazy. I was at a police officer's funeral, and they were thanking me for my service. The police were thanking me for my service as a student in the Merchant Marine.
you're the
You're just a roommate in the background going, "What?"
My roommate's chiming in. We gotta find.
Matt's in the
You know,
bloody
like,
Matt's in the bloody mess hall. He's getting all these recruits in.
Just imagine this. One of the Stolen Valor guys was behind Matt and his dad one day, and he's like, "Oh, my son is in the Merchant Marines." And he goes, "Actually, buddy, I didn't serve you. I didn't hear you serve time my day. Let me see your badge numbers. Put your teeth on the curve."
I'll pull off my little honor guard pin.
Imagine Matt is at the queue for Country Max, and there's some big bearded guy in those like proper skin touching like sunglasses, right? Those like
Of course, you
visor.
would be thinking about big men with skin tight clothes.
But he's there, he's there. His massive beard. He's like the most built guy you've ever seen, and he's like, "Actually, I fought 7 years in Iraq." And then the woman at the counter points to Matt. She's like, "Actually, that's our local Marine. His father actually told me." And this guy.
Players set.
Even worse, my cousin works at this Country Max.
Oh God. So
I didn't run into her. But now they talk about the Merchant Marine in Country Max. I guarantee it. And it's me. It's me.
It can't be a real organization, the Merchant Marine. It must be made
It
up.
is.
It must be a private company.
I mean, it used to be fucking like a respected thing, but now you've got people like me.
yeah, little autistic freaks they just invite in. Like, I
I
don't.
can't believe I'm paying to be here.
Oh my. It must be a private company. There's no way it's like state backed.
No, the Merchant Marine is like, it's just a thing.
Do you get a state
We're
pension when you're
just
done?
sailors. If you serve during a time of war, yes.
Which is not happening. Let's be frank. That's not happening.
I don't know.
Okay, whatever. I mean, to be
I don't
fair,
know.
on one hand, World War III is imminent, but on the other hand,
Yeah.
if World War III happens, we'll all be vaporized
Yes,
immediately. So I don't think it'll be too much bother whether you get your pension or not.
I mean,
Comforting, actually.
Do you think it's
Is it-
comforting that we'll be vaporized immediately?
not for me, because I wouldn't be vaporized. I'd be in the middle of the fucking Atlantic.
Yeah, you'd be
Ocean
the last
somewhere.
man left.
Everybody that I love and know is dead.
Actually, yeah, you'd probably be one of the last people to die.
Yeah,
Sucks for you.
yeah. Get a load of that.
Oh, and you're gonna be surrounded by a bunch of seamen on like people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's our last day on Earth. What do you guys want to do?" And then it's gonna be like a huge orgy.
It probably will, to be fair, Matt. I know your kind.
We know you're
My kind? What is my kind?
Yeah,
I'm not in the
seaman.
Navy. I'm not in the Navy.
Oh, that's so true. You're actually only in the Merchant Marine, which is
I'm
even
only in the
wetter.
Merchant Marine.
which is actually arguably worse.
Yeah. Not
Is
even
it-
an actual organization, just a made-up.
It's so real.
I feel
It's
like
so
there's probably
real.
more gay people in your version than the actual Marine.
I've got a bumper sticker. Actually, I don't think there's a single person on campus that is.
You got hold on, you got a bumper sticker. What
got
does it
a
say?
bumper
I
sticker, yeah.
served.
No, let me see it. I was given it to my desk somewhere. It's
You were
actually
given
a
it?
pretty fucking, a pretty cool bumper
So,
sticker.
so you paid to
I don't
join
know
this
what it is.
organization? They're giving out like branded pens and bumper stickers.
No, at career fairs. Like my desk is full of like fucking random
Wait,
branded merchandise.
So you like? Are you saying you go to the career fairs on behalf of the Merchant Marine? You're like you run the
Like
stand.
shipping companies come here to recruit us.
Oh, I see.
This is like the foremost institution in the country for this shit.
Well, okay, in the country, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised. I suppose.
I mean, there's only 7 of them.
Yeah, and the others will be like, you know, in
California.
I was gonna say
Texas
like,
Farm and Boat School.
yeah, who's gonna recruit a sailor from Texas? Like, oh yeah, they might sail the very placid Gulf of Mexico, not to reference
Great
Placid
Lakes.
Sign. Oh my God, you don't recruit a sailor from the Great Lakes though. It's not actually like a body of water, really. It's a lake.
No, it is.
It's a lake. It's
The Great Lakes are fucking massive.
yeah, but they're not as big as like the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, but they're fucking massive, and the
Well,
shipping
you
is
know.
crazy on the Great Lakes.
Well, yeah, but you know, still not the
Oh,
Atlantic.
no, the Great Lakes are really big, dude.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is if you're a merchant marine, if you're a merchant mariner, right, sailing about the Great Lakes, I bet you're the butt of all the jokes of the merchant mariners in the Atlantic.
Actually, no, they're very respected. It's a very dangerous job.
Merchant Marine.
Oh,
Oh, in the Great Lakes.
to be fair, they're supposed to be really windy, aren't they? That's why
Yeah,
Chicago is like
it's-
horrible.
It's not safe.
Oh, because that's the funny boat.
Oh, you're gonna think about the Admin Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
my
that
God,
one.
A lot of this fucking guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, November on the Great Lakes is not safe.
Yeah, well, I think that on the Atlantic Ocean sometimes, where I am, you know, at the mercy of. I've got the
Oh yeah,
I've got the Atlantic on 2
Mhm.
sides of me right now.
I've got it.
Actually, I've got
right
it on
out
3
the
sides,
window.
I think.
I got it right out the window.
Well, Matt, if
I
I
could go take a dip.
hold on, Matt. I'm
If
looking.
we piss at the same time,
No, Matt,
we're
I'm-
pissing together in the same toilet.
We're probably looking at each other right now because I'm looking.
I don't think so.
No, I'm looking
Okay,
westwards.
I had to go for a second. What the fuck is happening?
I'm looking
We're
at
talking
Matt.
about.
I'm looking at Matt.
I'm looking at a wall.
Well,
The windows are closed.
oh yeah, well, you know, there's a bit of a hill in the way, but like that's
Well,
the
then you're
direction
not
of it.
fucking looking
Well,
at me.
okay, look, it was obviously.
What?
Look, even if it was a clear view, the curvature of the Earth means we're not looking at each other.
No,
but
it wouldn't. The Earth is dead flat. We all know this.
I forgot you're American. To be
Are
fair.
you guys taking a pee break or something?
Pee break? No, we never take
You're
breaks.
just peeing on the podcast.
You better not take breaks. Not on my podcast. I'll work you until you die.
Did I
That's not ironic because we're usually the ones adding you.
Oh. Okay.
That's crazy. I don't know about that.
I feel like me and Henry are kind of the workhorses of this.
Oh. Okay.
I couldn't hear you. My roommate's dancing right now. What did you say?
Ever since AJ, got shot and killed in Ohio, you just haven't been pulling your weight.
Yeah.
Mr.
Look,
Gay.
yes, the last one it was just a bad day. I was having a bad day. All right.
You're having a bad day. Well, you're lucky we pulled through and we carried that podcast. Me and Henry basically carried it. Iron.
Really?
Fist,
Did you?
Iron Back. Yep, they call me the backshot warrior in school.
See, I think this is a perfect segue into the segment that I would like to propose.
Well, before we move on to that, can I quickly?
Well, now the joke's gone. Now the joke's gone.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I wanted, a long time ago, we had a massive distraction, but I was talking about the guy who the CIA convinced that there were UFOs.
You see, that's also a perfect segue.
Go on.
To what? But finish
The
the sentence.
conspiracy theory segment.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, I can
Oh,
go
yeah.
on that. I actually approve of that. That's the first time you've had a good idea since we're killing ourselves at the end of the podcast.
That's not that
Yeah,
wasn't a great
that
idea.
was me. You're welcome.
That's the second
I'm the
idea.
genius that came up with that.
That's his second ever good idea.
What can I say?
Your
I'm
roommate's
kind of a genius. I'm a genius sailor.
your
That's what they
roommate's
call me.
speaking Latin. Your roommate,
Yeah, and what did you just say?
he's speaking Latin. He's
No,
actually
he's singing a song.
he's speaking Latin. What were you gonna say, Henry?
Well,
Gaming?
if we're doing a conspiracy segment, Matt, can you get your friend to go sail a boat or
I
something?
can't control him.
Well,
He's dancing. He's hitting.
these are the people sailing. These are the people sailing our ships around the world.
Yes, these are the people that sell your cargo.
These are the people in charge of
Yeah.
my Belle Delphine flesh doll.
I forgot we talked about that last episode.
All right, now finish your sentence.
Yeah.
baby.
So if we're going on to a conspiracy theory segment, I mean we may as well start with what I wanted to talk about earlier. That's the infamous, I would say, John Lear, son of Learjet magnate Bill Lear. Know him?
Nope.
So he was an aviator. I'm gonna summarize a lot of it, and I might get a bit wrong because it is extensively documented. But he was an aviator, and he flew a few planes for the CIA and such. But he basically, I think he lived near like an Air Force base. And he became obsessed with he would see lights and things in the sky, and he was like, oh my god, I'm sure it's aliens. And so he started to I can't remember, he started to tell people there were aliens about, but as it turns out, obviously it was just the US military testing random fucking shit in the sky. But to cover it up, they went to him, they visited his house and were like, oh, by the way, they're actually aliens. Don't tell anyone, but we are actually talking to aliens right now, and you're in on it. So he was like, oh my god, this is crazy. So yeah. So I think it was the CIA. They fully convinced him that they were talking to aliens, and he had to keep it a secret. And then they would just to keep him content, they would just send signals to his house. He would build rigs to try and hear the aliens, and they would just send signals, beam them at his house, and he would pick them up. And then the next day he would go in and be like, oh my god, the aliens, they contacted me last night, this is what they said. And the CIA would be like, oh no, nice John, cheers, we'll take that on. And they would just chuck it in the bin. And they did it for ages just to cover up their program. I can't remember what program it was, but they covered it. They got him to cover it all up. And then I think when they got to the end of their testing, they kind of just dropped him and said oh, sorry mate, you're on your own now. And I think, did he kill himself? He basically went crazy. They drove him insane. He got paranoid schizophrenia.
Jesus.
I think he might have killed himself. If he didn't, he went crazy.
Oh, paranoid schizophrenia is not really a thing to scoff at. It's a pretty terrible thing to happen to someone.
Exactly. And and he wouldn't have had it if the CIA didn't lie to him and convince him aliens were trying to abduct him at night.
Yeah, but in terms of the scale of terrible things the CIA has done.
Yeah, that's light
pales
work.
in
I think
comparison.
this is pretty. Yeah, that's not too bad considering
Also-
it's the American government.
They've done worse things, such as segue into what I wanted to talk about
Go
from
on.
the conspiracy section.
Like me.
This is a pretty famous one, so that's why I'm going to talk about it first. The assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
I'm pulling out the big schmeat today.
Yeah,
so
clearly.
basically, the CIA, they fucking killed him. We all know this, right? You know it, I know it, your mother knows it, your dad knows it, your sister-in-law knows it.
Well, give me some proof. Give me some proof that the CIA killed him.
Okay, you want a little bit of fact?
Yeah,
little bit
yeah.
of
Give me
fact?
some of your liberal
Multiple-
facts.
Multiple sightings of
Multiple sightings.
smoke coming off the grass have been reported.
It was just
by
really hot out,
people
bud.
going- Yeah, it was just really
Check
hot.
the
yeah.
recorded temperature.
Yeah, no, asphalt and grass just start smoking out of nowhere on
They
a dry
do.
Texas day.
They
You ever
do.
been to Texas? You know how dry.
Do you just hear what you just said? Yeah, no shit. Shit's gonna catch on fire if it's hot and dry.
Oh yeah, I'm just sure they would. Yeah,
But-
and
Oh my
that
god.
would make sense if there wasn't recorded evidence of it. But apparently, multiple video sources from that time have been, mysteriously lost or destroyed.
Okay, but hold on. Can I just interject?
Mhm.
Why does smoke on the grass mean that the CIA was involved?
Oh, because people 100% believe, which is true. It is basically confirmed at this point that there was a second shooter, not just Lee Harvey Oswald.
So you're saying Lee Harvey
Jack
Oswald?
Ruby? You mean Jack Ruby?
Yes, Jack Ruby was definitely the second shooter. But,
He technically was.
So are you saying that Lee Harvey Oswald's like spamming shots down into the grass, setting it alight, and at the same time someone else actually hits JFK from a different angle, and that smoke is Lee Harvey Oswald missing all his shots?
I'm saying the CIA really wanted to kill JFK.
So what? Yeah, but why is there smoke there? That's how I'm trying to get to the bottom of that.
Put a second guy on the ground to make sure that either if
But why is there smoke then?
Think about this. Okay, if Harvey
From the gun, the barrel of the gun.
the gun of the person that was on the floor. Think about this. Harvey Oswald. That was an amazing shot, right? That would be a clip in Fortnite if it could be, because it was in a moving car. It was hard to see because there was a bunch of people. And he was using a sniper, so there's like a big chance that he might not have hit him. He missed a couple shots.
Yeah, but
he might
Oswald.
And if the CIA really wanted to kill John F. Kennedy, then they would have put a second guy on the ground to finish him off, just in case they didn't think he was going to die by Oswald. And then that guy would have to get out of Dodge as soon as possible, which means that's why people reported smoke on the ground, and that's why people didn't probably see an agent, because they're probably focusing on the president. People are pretty easily misdirected. Like magicians prove this that like people are very often misdirected, so they might not have seen a second shooter.
But they saw Lee Harvey Oswald.
No, they didn't.
No, he was inside of a building.
Yeah,
He was
but
in a building.
yeah, but they grabbed him like 15 minutes later, didn't they? He didn't get very far.
Running out of a building while they're trying to secure the perimeter is pretty obvious. Plus, if you believe that the CIA conspiracy that they knew about Oswald and he planted him, then like obviously they would catch him pretty quick because he's a plant. And also, why did Oswald get shot by Jack Ruby if he didn't have something to cover up? He was never
Because he just murdered the president. Like Jack Ruby
Do you know
was
who
pissed
Jack
off.
Ruby was?
Go on.
Jack Ruby was an infamous mob individual.
Yeah.
Why the fuck was Jack Ruby chilling in the police station?
And here's another thing. JFK had a lot of ties to the mob, such as Teamsters and what was his name? It was in The Irishman.
Al Pacino and The Irishman.
The guy that Al Pacino played, I forgot his name, but they assassinated him too. He had a big ties to the JFK campaign because basically the mob promoted his campaign inside the big cities, like the fucking Pennsylvania and all that shit. They promoted his campaign. And then once JFK got elected, they thought that their unions, their Teamsters would, get some compensation, but they never did, which would further add to the motive as why maybe the mob worked a little bit with the CIA, or maybe they worked on their own to kill JFK. I'm just saying, more than just one crazy guy, Oswald.
I think it's more likely that the mob killed him than the CIA did. The mob killing him is somewhat believable.
Let me explain why the CIA would have motive, right? So JFK has been quoted on multiple bases as saying
he was anti-CIA though, yeah, wasn't he? He was actively
hated the CIA. He said he wanted to dissolve the CIA and crush it into dust. And what changes the CIA from the FBI is that the FBI is like sort of more of a government institution, which is like it's not independent. It's regulated more by the government than the CIA. The CIA is basically like an independent regulatory commission, which means that they're not really, they can't be, I don't think they can be fired. The FBI director can be fired by the president, but the CIA director can't be fired. And so JFK didn't have a lot of power of the CIA, and the CIA had a lot of influence in a lot of the operations that they wanted to do inside of Cuba. They basically coerced JFK to go into Cuba, which he really didn't want to do, and then he half-assed it, which caused a lot of shit for him. It basically almost caused the Cuban Missile Crisis, basically almost ending the world. So JFK has a lot of reason to be pissed at the CIA, which is why he hated them. And then the CIA, obviously seeing that this guy had pretty good reasons to want to abolish them, they killed him.
right.
I'd like to run back on something Placid said.
What's up?
Ignore that.
Fortnite?
No. When you said the big cities like Pennsylvania and all that shit,
Okay,
that was
I meant to say
that was a line.
the Rust Belt cities.
The big cities like Pennsylvania and all that shit.
Pennsylvania is not a city.
I know.
The Rust Belt cities, like Philadelphia,
No, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
That's my city.
It's like, but my point still stands. The CIA or the mob definitely killed JFK.
I think it's more likely that the mob did it.
But also, why would the mob?
I don't think they would need a second shooter anyway. Lee Harvey Oswald was in the US military. He was a
How would
trained
you-
marksman. People are like, how did he pull off the shot? But then, like, if you're taking issue with how Lee Harvey Oswald pulled off the shot, then you should also take issue with how a second shooter would pull off the shot. Like it,
Then how did explain the magic bullet? The bullet that
the magic
shot-
bullet. Okay, explain
the fucking
explain
magic
a
bullet.
fictional bullet. Okay, go on.
You seriously don't know about the magic
Go on,
bullet?
enlighten me.
All right, so I don't know the exact details, but I'll say it off the top of my head. I could be wrong, but I just know one specific detail. So there was one shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. It missed. Another shot. That one shot him in the neck. Definitely hit him. You can see in the Zapruder film, the video that showed his assassination, that JFK grabs his neck because he was just shot in the neck, and then his wife leans into him.
Yeah.
The third shot that everyone remembers, that's the money shot. Boom. Head exploding, cracked 200, kablamo.
Right.
What no one really explains is how the guy in front of JFK also got shot in the back, the upper back. Something along the lines of the upper back, which makes no sense because the trajectory of where Harvey Oswald would have been and where the shot landed makes no sense as to how any of those shots hit the guy in the back when like most of the bullets are accounted for. You know what does explain the magic bullet that shot the guy in the back? Second shooter.
Oh my
Which also-
god.
Which also explains the smoke off of the ground.
I don't think there was smoke on. I think it was a hot day and some like hay might have caught.
The thing is, on the hottest day of the year, do you ever see smoke on the ground?
Yes.
Yeah.
What? I've never seen this.
You at least
it is
get
hot,
steam.
I've never
And
seen
dry.
steam coming.
Shit catches on fire. Plus,
Yeah,
have you ever made a fire before?
Have you ever heard of the California wildfires? They're
Wildfires.
quite well known.
Like in a pavilion, surrounded by like grass and trees, which is.
I don't
you-
think
oh,
you
Martin-
underestimate how easy it is for grass to catch
And
on
you,
fire.
and you said earlier there was asphalt as well. You got to keep in mind you're in Dallas, which is like concrete asphalt. Like that stuff absorbs heat like a motherfucker. Like
Right,
that
right.
shit must have been boiling, especially in Texas.
I'll concede that point. But also the fact that the CIA has hidden a lot of files about the JFK murder.
Yeah, it's confidential.
It's been 60 years. How much more could they like need to keep for safety, you know? It's been not even 60. It's been like 60 years since the assassination. Like,
Also, I just want to say the magic bullet is completely explained by shrapnel and ricochet, which happens to bullets.
no, I think,
Especially when hitting things at an angle, like the bullets
But
that hit
but if it
JFK.
hit a
Okay,
per-
plus you're talking. Have you ever seen the Zapruder film?
I've seen the Zapruder film, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, hold on, you're talking about the magic bullet. If the guy in the front got a shot in the back, surely you would be able to see the second shooter and his
Hey,
bullet.
Maybe I'm not explaining it right, but there is a bullet that has no reason to be somewhere, and I don't think I'm at capacity to explain it right now because I came unprepared because I didn't know this segment was happening. I do know there is a
Okay,
magic
okay,
bullet.
then here's the deal. Here's the deal. Next episode, you will come with this research,
Yeah.
Okay,
and you will tell me exactly why it is
the magic.
that the CIA killed John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
All right.
Please.
Or was it this guy that I'm looking at in the chat right now? Is that the second shooter? Are we looking at the second shooter?
No,
You're
that
looking
that
you're-
that is an image of
John.
Lord Alan Sugar.
God, no more
The,
pictures.
the second shooter.
It's Buck, not us.
No
So
pictures. No pictures. Moving on. We're
Um,
not having it.
yeah.
Repeat.
I think you're an idiot to be honest, Placid.
I really.
I mean, I'm not gonna say he's wrong.
I am.
Alright, there's-
I am
there's
gonna say you're
definitely-
wrong.
Look, there's definitely more to that whole shebang than the U.S. government wants us to believe. But I want some undeniable proof.
I just want to say, Lee Harvey
I just-
Oswald was a bit of a nutter. It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, he was fucking up the
So,
wall. But
do you know what he like got up to? Do you know like the exploits of Lee Harvey?
Do you?
yeah, he he was obsessed with his like ex-wife.
Yeah, well, so he was in the U.S. military for a bit and like had his proper training and stuff. Got in, and then I think he was dishonorably discharged, and I'm pretty sure it was just because he was like so weird. He was like a freak, and they were like, "Please get away from us." So he was dishonorably discharged, and he was one of those like, you know how Hitler like loved World War One. Hitler just adored being in war.
Right.
Like Lee Harvey Oswald was a bit like that. After he got kicked out of the military, he was like, I have nothing better to do with my life now. Like I'm depressed. Like I hate, I just want to be in the military. So he grew to like hate the US. So he was so pissed off, he fled the US, and turned up at Checkpoint Charlie in West Germany, trying to get into the East. And he said like, please, can I come into East Germany because I want to go to the Soviet Union? And they were like, who the hell are you? Like, you're a nutter, mate. And he was like, oh, just let me in. And they were like, well, do you have any papers? And he provided his slip that said he'd been dishonorably discharged from the military to prove his identity. So, like, he turns up at the border of, like, the Iron Curtain, and the only evidence he has, his only papers, are this slip saying he's been kicked out of the US military for being a nutter. And they're like...
Here's the thing, Henry. Here's the thing. I don't think you realize that is a perfect candidate for the CIA.
Well, okay,
to give a
no,
weapon to
no,
You're
no.
playing that as
president.
if like, that
Yeah,
proves
no.
the CIA
Well,
plan.
I'm not even halfway through yet. So they think he's a spy, and they're like, oh, we'll let you in. Like, yeah, we'll tell you everything you need to know to try and like bait him. So they set him up in like really fancy accommodation, just to like surveil him. And like, I'm pretty sure he's there for quite a while. Until they realise he's not a spy, he's just a freak. And then they're like, look, Lee Harvey, we're not just going to pay for your accommodation. You can't just live here, like, in this lovely apartment forever. We thought you were a spy, that's why we were treating you so well. So can you, like, fuck off now? And he was like, oh, I live here now. I'm a Soviet citizen. And they're like, fuck off, mate. So they deported him back to America. And so he was really, really pissed off, having been kicked out of both world super... Like, neither the West or the East wanted this man. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was just so pissed off. He was like, oh, you know what? The president's in Dallas. Might just cap him.
You don't understand how often our government organizations take advantage of those people.
I mean,
like,
yeah, I do think I do think.
At the beginning of the podcast, Henry, you literally gave an example of the government taking advantage of a crazy man.
Okay, that's true. To be fair, yeah, okay. To be fair, I will admit it wouldn't surprise me if they had nudged Lee Harvey in the right direction and then got Jack Ruby to shoot him to cover it up. But I just want to say, regardless of if the CIA had nudged Lee Harvey or not, there is no precedent for a second shooter nor a magic bullet. Neither of those make any sense.
I'll come prepared.
The magic bullet isn't so much like, oh, this special bullet. It's just
it's
a bullet that doesn't line up with the trajectory. And up till now, the common belief has been it was a member of Kennedy's Secret Service detail that jumped on the back of his motorcade to protect Jackie and accidentally discharged his weapon into the president.
But no, I want to say.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, maybe that's how JFK died, though. Maybe.
Class has been trying to say this. Let the man.
Go on, please.
I just want to say this.
Go on.
There have been many president killers throughout history. Charles J. Guiteau, the anarchist that killed William McKinley, and the guy who shot Ronald Reagan. They all had three equally common things. They were all fucking crazy. They were all crazy, but none of them have ever been assassinated themselves. Just Lee Harvey Oswald, which is a little strange.
Well, okay, McKinley's like assassin was in like the early 1800s, whereas Lee Harvey Oswald was in the 60s. Like, it's a completely different climate, I think.
No, McKinley's assassin was in the 1890s.
Also,
yeah, but,
1 second.
Like,
Charles J. Guiteau, he was in like the 1870s.
It makes sense though.
The guy who shot Ronald Reagan, he was.
Yeah, but Ronald Reagan didn't die, so it wasn't like deep.
He shot him.
Yeah, but he just got over it.
Thing is, the guy who Charles J. Guiteau shot, James Garfield, he probably would have survived if the doctors hadn't killed him. The doctors are what killed that guy.
Who, Garfield or the assassin?
Garfield. No, they killed Garfield because they stuck their unsterilized fingers in his wound
That's why. That must be why he hates Mondays.
Booth was also Booth was also killed.
Booth was killed. No, but Booth was killed in a shootout by the police. He was never
Yeah.
assassinated. Never assassinated.
That's
Like,
kinda
Yeah, but he was
base.
still killed. I don't get what your point. I don't really think this guy got killed after doing something that pissed the American people off.
Yeah,
I don't think that
I like.
particularly, especially with Kennedy's connections to the mafia, it's not completely outlandish that a member of the mob would have been like, "Hey, fuck you! I've been ordered to
No,
shoot this."
it wouldn't
I'm
even
not- I'm-
surprise me if he was just a passionate JFK supporter and he just went, "Oh my god, the president's just been killed by some like communist freak. I've just seen him go into that room. They haven't locked the door. I'm just gonna cap him because I'm so pissed off."
He's a member of the mafia. They have a lot of other things to care about than the fucking president.
I
Okay,
don't know. I don't
not
know that they do. I
particularly.
don't think they do.
They had a big stake in the Kennedy family and Kennedy's wealth.
Yeah,
Now
they
this
have-
Okay.
motherfucker's been shot.
What is
Yeah, but
okay? I'll tell you what is
that
weird
would-
though. Robert Kennedy also being killed is a little. That's where I start to get. One fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You know what I mean?
But
actually
the
know a
entire
lot about
Kennedy
Robert
family's
Kennedy.
fucked up.
Just you wait
Yeah.
for Robert Jr. This 2024.
Oh god, no!
The guy who
Don't bring
can't
that.
speak.
He's absolutely insane and a conspiracy theorist.
He
And
is
the fact
one-
that people are like, "Oh, just vote for Kennedy."
I was gonna vote for him, but I'm just gonna vote for Biden because I cannot stand.
Well, no,
Sorry to
'cause
get-
I've been saying, this is the thing. So, all the Republicans say, like, oh, why vote for Biden? He's old and senile.
They're like
But
3
this is-
years apart.
Same.
Yeah, no, but this is the thing, right? Like, if anything, still vote for Biden because at some point he'll get so senile that they'll say, like, look, we have to decommission you, and then you'll get an actually good, like, Democrat. Like, maybe
No,
Kamala
no.
Harris will be
We're
president.
gonna get Kamala Harris, which is
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would consider that an actual
No.
good choice
But it's
either.
I don't know. I would
It's
rather.
better than
I think Kamala's
Okay.
better than senile old man. Joe Biden can barely string
Alright.
sentences now.
Genuinely, it's like a guy who's AFK in real life or a fucking criminal. That's who our people. That's who our choices are.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not
our
great.
entire political system is beginning to
And
collapse.
you know what? I could go more into detail about it, but it would get kind of boring. I'm just saying, corporations are at fault.
I
Corporations
concur.
and the Democratic and Republican Party themselves, the establishment. And it's so weird because, like, Republicans are all like, "Oh, I hate the establishment," and then Democrats are like, "Oh, we hate the establishment too," and they like use that word so fucking like willy nilly. But it's like the
They
establishment
are
is
the
what
establishment.
pits us. Yeah, you are the establishment. You are what pitting us. The fact that you're pitting us against each other is what the establishment wants. You want us to fight with each other rather than start questioning you guys. And it's kind of fucking.
Well, it's the culture war, isn't it? The culture war is like, the culture war doesn't need to exist. The culture war is a fabrication by corporations and other, people who
So they-
purely wants to divide the electorate, so that we don't actually get
it's-
proper like economic and political change. We just end up fighting about social issues all the time.
Exactly.
I don't think that's a preposterous belief.
It's not. It's just our broken system that can't really do
And-
anything to fix unless you're
Well,
the
I mean,
person in power.
okay. Well, the thing is, like, this is a good issue to talk about. But I think a good example of it is in the UK, because I don't know too much about the US as much as you're, the bloody center of the world or whatever.
But I bet we are.
But in the UK, right? So the UK is not a two-party system. We've got multiple, but only two big ones really win. But the problem in the UK, right, is we have a first past the post election system. So basically, it's kind of like in the US where you have, like, it's done by state. So it's done by your constituencies. So each constituency is, I think it's 50 to 70,000 people. And so the country is divided into sections of 50 to 70,000 people. And each constituency votes for a member of parliament, and then each member of parliament represents their constituency, right? But in that constituency, the member of parliament elected is done by percentage. So it's just whoever gets the majority, whoever gets, whoever's first past the post. But the problem with that is that you get some parties that get tons of votes but aren't represented fairly. So, like, for example, the the major parties will always get more representation than their total vote share for the country.
So
An example at the moment is that the Reform Party, which is like a horrible right-wing party, has like by the polls they will have a 14% vote share, but they will win 0 seats in Parliament, because even though a massive proportion of the population supports them, they only have they don't get past the post in any of their single constituencies.
what? All right. So there's two things I want to comment on about that. So the Reform Party is right wing. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. That's hilarious. Because like right wing, you'd expect like conservative, not changing, and they're literally called Reform.
It's because they want to reform the right, because they think the right in this country is like bad. So they're like, we want to reform it and make it more right wing. They're kind of mental.
That sounds.
The UK is like a distortion of everything you have, though. Like your right wing party's red, whereas our right wing party's blue, and vice versa.
That's just like a color. But no,
Yeah, I know, but it's backwards.
But what I've taken from that is you have multiple party system, but
But
the
only,
fact that
but yeah.
only two have really any
So-
say in anything
yeah,
basically makes.
But this is the thing, right? So the reason that's a problem is like the third biggest party is the Liberal Democrats, and their policy is they want a different voting system, so that smaller parties are represented more. So instead of it being first past the post, you have a more representative portion. So effectively, the country votes and the percentages of what each party gets end up being their proportion in Parliament. But the problem is that the Liberal Democrats are victims of this system. So they don't win many seats because they are negatively impacted by first past the post. Whereas the Conservatives and the Labour Party will never ever vote to get rid of first past the post because they directly benefit from it. So you have a system where like tons of people say like, oh, we should not have this, and even whichever party's losing at the time will usually say like, oh yeah, we promise to like get rid of first past the post, and then they never do because it would like take votes away from them if they were to get rid of it. So even if they're like against the establishment, they'll never actually reform that establishment because it benefits them.
So it's like the Electoral College, basically.
Yeah.
It's not really.
It's different, but that's the equivalent in the States. It's
basically
the
like
closest thing we can compare it to.
Yeah.
I see a very simple solution to all of this.
What is
Vote Vermin Supreme 2024.
He's American, but okay. I think that's
Yeah.
that actually, and our system is pretty broken right now too. And I wanted to explain why. I'll be brief.
Mm.
So you know how I was talking about corporations being at fault. Well, that's true, but you know why in recent years?
Go
A
on.
little Supreme Court case called Citizens United versus FEC, where the Supreme Court of the United States basically said that corporations are people, that corporations are entitled to free speech, and that free speech includes giving endless amounts of campaign money to any candidate that they want to be elected, but they can't give it directly to that person. So what can they do? They can pay for their ads. They can buy millions and spend millions on ads for that person to get them elected, and they can just flood them with ads in order to get their policies passed. And what that basically means is that, so you know how you have like only a two-party system in America, right?
Yeah.
And the way that these two parties like shape their platform is by like they keep the people that voted for them basically. So Democrats, they want more taxes, pro-abortion, and fucking they want more social reform. Whereas Republicans, they're on the right, they want less taxes, less reform, and are anti-abortion.
Yeah, the
That's
traditionalist.
basically. And so what? And throughout American history, like each party has adopted like another platform's like ideologies in order to keep a two-party system. That's why we've had a two-party system for so long.
Well, yeah, because you have the flips, don't you? Where the Democrats will become right wing for like 100 years.
Exactly, and that's why like a couple for example, that's an example, but also the Populist Party. Populist Party never won any elections. They never won anything, but the Democratic Party adopted some of the Populist Party platforms in order to keep their party alive, in order to gain more votes. So that's why we keep a two-party system. But the problem nowadays is that Citizens United versus FEC, basically said that corporations can influence elections now. And so the people don't even fucking matter. The platforms don't even fucking matter. Our candidates are basically chosen by corporations now, and those candidates will be pro corporation, or else they just won't get money and they won't get funding, and they basically won't ever win. And if you think it won't happen, there's so many examples of it. I watched a documentary about it. Corporations are basically, even in like the most remote part of Wyoming, they still have their greedy little hands in campaign ads and smear campaigns in order to get the person that they want elected. And that's the only reason that and the Electoral College is the only reason that the Republican Party, Trump's party, is still alive today. It's because of a broken fucking system.
Well, they're the party of business, aren't they? They're the party of the corporations, more than the Democrats, even though both of them are.
Basically, well, Democrats feel like it's kind of difficult to explain, but yeah, Republicans.
But that's why Trump was chosen as the Republican candidate originally, wasn't it? Because he was a businessman, and they were like, yeah, the corporations will love him.
Basically,
it's more because he had a giant, easily identifiable cult of personality.
Okay, that's
if
true.
you have a political leader with a cult of personality,
that's populism.
They're going to be the obvious immediate choice for anybody who has a stake in their success.
Yeah, well, exactly.
He still has so many supporters. He's still like the Republicans' candidate now. He was chosen.
And he probably might win. You know, I wouldn't.
Despite it's terrible. And despite the Supreme Court's decision in the recent ruling that he's innocent and didn't cause an insurrection, I don't know a single person that would agree with that. He absolutely incited.
Wait, he did.
In January 6th.
But
no, but I think the most outrageous thing, because they made him pay that big fine, and then he just fucking opened Truth Social for public sharing, and then he made like his net worth increased to like 3.4 billion overnight. He's richer now than he's ever been in his life.
Yep, and he owed like millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, he was made to. It was like 400 million he had to pay, wasn't it, in fines? Somewhere in that range.
Something insane like that,
but he just opened Truth Social for public trading, and then immediately just the money didn't matter.
Yep, it's crazy. It's despicable, and I hate him. But and another thing I wanted to add on to what you said, Matt, that the court decided him. The people on the Supreme Court, like 3 of them were appointed. 3 of them.
Yeah, it was 3 to 4. It was close.
3 of them were appointed by Trump.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. That is a serious issue. That doesn't make sense.
So the court basically like decides, like the question. You know how our Constitution is like the set of laws that were like it's like a outline for.
Yeah, because the UK has a constitution. It's just not one document.
Yeah, you're not gonna get like arrested for violating the Constitution. It's basically like a rule book for how to make laws and how our government is structured.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court's job is basically to like clarify anything that wasn't specifically in the Constitution. Their job is to interpret. They interpret it. So they don't want to get political because political parties weren't in the Constitution. They don't want to get political, and also half of the people on the court were appointed by Trump. So it makes sense that he would win that court case. But it's depressing. It's really depressing.
Well, I mean, it's kind of similar to. So before 1911, obviously the UK's got the House of Lords, and the House of Lords used to be really important. But so the Commons was always elected, although it used to just be like only a certain proportion of the population could vote, whereas now everyone can vote. The House of Commons is elected, whereas the Lords you have to be appointed to. So either your dad was a lord, so you inherit his lordship, or you're a religious leader, in like whether you're Church of England, Islam, whatever, you get an appointment by default, or the king or queen can directly appoint you to the House of Lords. But what you get, or you used to get back in the olden days, before 1911, is you'd have a big block of lords that would have been appointed at a time when their leanings were more favourable. So, for example, in 1911, you had the Liberals won a massive majority in the Commons, but the Lords was dominated by the Conservatives. So the problem is that the Liberals were trying to pass the Welfare Act, which is like the foundation for the welfare state today, and they were trying to pass it with a massive majority in the Commons, and then the Lords, who were all Conservatives, would just say like, no, fuck off, like it's not happening. But the way it got, so that's effectively what you have is that people that were appointed in a different time period to what today's politics are, like still have power, which isn't exactly fair in a democracy. And that's kind of what you have with the Supreme Court, because they're like, you know, low-key Republicans appointed at a time when Republicans were the thing, but now it's Democrats and they still have power. But the way it was solved in the UK is that the king directly intervened in 1911. This was like, you know, only about 100 years ago. The king directly intervened and said, if you don't pass this legislation, I will flood the House of Lords with liberal lords. So then the law will be passed anyway, and you'll lose your power forever. And then he got the law. He forced the Lords effectively to pass an act that limits the Lords' power. So now the Lords can only reject a law 3 times before they have to pass it. So that was the moment the UK became a proper democracy. It was 1911, and only because the king intervened.
That's actually like a pretty good reason to have a monarchy.
Exactly, because if shit like that, if stuff like that happens, the king can sort out.
Here in America, and people like lose their fucking minds. Like President Biden takes a shit, and people are like, "Oh my god, tyranny!" Like Republicans go fucking crazy over like anything. But that's probably the best example of like a big power stepping in to do what's right.
Yeah, I mean it's our equivalent of like a constitution, I suppose. Because is that the king decides.
The thing is, FDR tried to do that. He tried to do something like that in America. He tried to pack the court with a bunch of liberals to like fix America because it was going through the Great Depression. And he was like, that was his big controversy. And he was elected 4 times. So, you know,
which isn't even like legal. I swear.
Well, it was legal at that point. He was the reason it became illegal.
Yeah, he was the reason that they had to make a law changing it so you can only get elected twice.
Literally couldn't even walk, and he was still that popular.
He was so popular, and the Supreme Court still didn't like him, and he was gonna pack it with a bunch of liberals, but he couldn't because that was also illegal. And no, he could have, but people didn't want that. They were like, "Oh, that's tyranny. You're acting like a king now," so he couldn't do it.
It's crazy that FDR was that popular, because Churchill, the British equivalent, effectively, was like, even though he's like beloved today, Churchill was so unpopular he was voted out before the end of the war. Like, literally, when during Potsdam, in the middle of the Potsdam conference, after FDR died, but just before, I think it was just before the Germans surrendered, or just after when Potsdam happened. But obviously it was still going on in the Pacific. In fact, Potsdam is when Truman told Stalin about the atom bomb. But at that conference, Churchill was there for the start, and then midway through, he was voted out in England. They voted in the Labour Party. Then Clement Attlee bloody turned up halfway through and really soured the mood. Right, anyway, we've outstayed our bloody welcome, I reckon.
I do too. I got things to go do.
Alright, so let me do the outro.
Gotta play Rust.
Yeah, do the outro.
Play Rust?
Hell yeah.
Matt, you know, if you play Rust, the one thing you should do is kill yourself.
We're gonna kill ourselves.